Hey guys, Devall here at ToyWorldOrder.com, welcoming you back to an all-new episode of Devall's Collection Expansion Extravaganza. I know probably a lot of people don't like that title. I thought it was cute. It was about me and collection and this band. Anyway, you know, from the old show, which was once called Flea Market Finds, I've had a lot of people ask me, since the first couple episodes of this aired, why did you change the name from Flea Market Finds to Devall's Collection Expansion Extravaganza? And the sheer fact was, when you go to YouTube, which is where all of our videos sit and are hosted basically for the site, if you look up Flea Market Finds, I'm not the only person who had that idea. There's a lot of people who have started to show their collections and their hunts. A lot of my picker friends are doing the same type of thing. So I thought, well, I want my show to stand out because it's not, my show's a little different than everybody else. So Flea Market Finds, you know, I did it for 20 episodes and I was like, okay, we're changing the name. And hence the Devall's Collection Expansion Extravaganza. And again, people aren't happy with that title, but I like it because it literally is the heart and soul of this show. It's what this show's all about. It's about my collection and how it expands each and every time I go out and about. So it's a great title in my mind. Let's get business underway. You know, I've got some cool stuff. We showed some cool stuff in the first couple episodes. I got a lot more. One of the things I want to show you is actually, let me unbury him here. You know, we've talked about in the past, and I won't go into detail, that we're big Disney fans here in the Devall household, and my wife has turned into somewhat of a collector, tiny bit. She likes to buy Disney stuff. I took her to her first toy show, the Toy Man Toy Show in St. Louis, Missouri, actually in Bridgeton, Missouri, a few months ago, and she actually bought more stuff than I did, which is pretty spectacular when you really start to think about it. She bought like 3 bags full of Disney stuff, just because there were I always knew there were tons of dealers that had Disney stuff, and she just started, you know, I gotta have this. One of the things she found that I thought was pretty neat was Applause did a little series of puppets in the 80s, and this one was, you know, I'm not sure when this one came out. I know it was early 80s, but she found this really cool little Applause Goofy puppet. And now the wife is Goofy is her favorite Disney character of all time. So when she found this, and you still got the little tag on him, the tag's in kind of busted shape, but the puppet itself is in really good condition. He looks awesome. No yellow arms. Let me see if I can get my fingers in. There we go. Yuck. I don't do a good Goofy. That's about as good as it gets. But this Applause Goofy little puppet is really fun. He's got a little bit of, I would say dirt, but it's not actually dirt. He's got freckles. He's just in great condition. Just looks beautiful. The inside of him's not like torn up or rotted or anything because it's all plush. It's all a big plush thing. This is something she was very happy to find, and I know she has a whole shelf of Goofy stuff in her office in our house upstairs. So henceforth, that's where this little guy will end up. Isn't that right, Goofy? So, Miss Carrie Devall has a large collection of Goofy stuff, and this will end up in it. Let's move on. Now, the Get Along Gang was one of those lines created by those characters from Cleveland for the Hallmark Card Company in the 80s. And one of the things, you know, there were lots of licensing things. It's one of those lines, much like Shirt Tales, that just, they don't get a lot of recognition. They're not well remembered, and when they are, they're kind of vaguely remembered. Now, they did do a lot of toys for Get Along Gang. They did some figures. I showed the playset, the Clubhouse playset, many episodes back on an old Flea Market Finds. One of the things we found when we were out and about in an antique store we were looking was saw something that I'd actually never seen before, and you know, I know they made a lot of these, but I've never seen one. Was this really cool hand-painted ceramic? Oh, I can't remember the moose's name. He was the leader for the Get Along Gang. Montgomery Moose, I think. I'll let you know if I'm right or not. And it was really nice. He was a buck, Really good condition. The only problem is it looks like at one time somebody had kind of busted his ears off, and they've been re-glued, but it's not terrible. Looks like they kind of tried to touch up the paint a little bit, but everything else is in solid shape. He's got a couple scratches in the back. He still has his bank plug, which you usually find these banks and the plugs are always missing. They're never there. They're gone. This was a really interesting find to stumble across for $1 in an antique store, considering that I'm sure not a lot of these, since it's ceramic. I mean, it's all just made out of ceramic, and a lot of these didn't survive, and even if they did, they're not in great condition. And other than the fact that his ears are busted and he's got some minor paints problems, which eventually I can probably touch up, it's good shape and a really fun find. Not sure where I'm going to put him yet, because I want to make sure he stays up out of the way and doesn't get broke, but we'll find a home for the Get Along Gang stuff. Very fun, very cool. Let's move on. So just recently going to antique stores, we've noticed a lot of booths have postcards. A lot of old postcards, that ephemera, if I said that right, I don't think I did, but you know what I'm talking about, paper paper collectibles. And a lot of times when you're digging through the old postcards, you find some great stuff. And we started digging through California and Florida, looking, of course, for Disney stuff. And we found some really cool stuff. We found this great postcard from probably the late 70s, early 80s, of Cinderella Castle, which is beautiful. It's hadn't been written on. The back's still pristine. The postcard itself is still beautiful. I'll slide that back in its little sleeve here. And we found a couple from Disneyland, and I want to say these are probably from the 60s, because they would have to be, but there's, just because of the clothes and the postcards, but there's Mickey standing in front of Sleeping Beauty Castle, an old Mickey costume. So I'm definitely sure that's from the 60s, the big bow ties, late 60s, early 70s. Really nice. Nothing's filled out on the back, still beautiful shape. And we found another one with Mickey leading the Disneyland band, which is kind of fun down Main Street. And again, the clothes, I'm saying this is probably late 60s, early 70s. I see a lot of plaid, a lot of polyester. It's got to be late 60s, early 70s that this was made. These were fun. Not something we collect as a lot of these old postcards, just because we never really thought about it until recently, and we're like, well, let's look. And we found a few. I'm sure these will get framed. I'll have to buy some cute little frames for them. Cute. I said cute. That's right. I said cute what? Find some cool frames for them. Put them up. I don't know where I'm going to put them up because I'm running out of wall space, basically. Sure, I'll find some place to put them, right? Right. Let's move on. Now, you guys know how I like kids' books. Kids' books are a lot of fun to me, just because, like I said in the past, the kids' books of today, they don't do a lot of the same things that the kids' books of the 70s and 80s did. There was just beautiful art, hand-drawn, painted. Now it's all like photoshopped and just thrown out. And it's like action figure packaging. Action figure packaging in the 70s and 80s was beautiful. It was gorgeous. It was all hand-painted. It was all hand-done. Now, same thing. They throw it into a Photoshop program, and it's all bland and bleh. It doesn't look good. Unfortunately, that's how the times go. But some of the kids' books I found was this one that I remember getting from Scholastic Book Club. It's not in great shape, but it's the Ghostbusters little storybook that had 12 collectible stickers inside, and it's just basically it's got some great artwork on the front cover, inside the front cover, and it's just basically the story of the film with pictures from the actual movie. Then of course the stickers, they were already put in, but they're all there, which is cool. So somebody had pulled the stickers out and put them in the sticker page. The cover's not in great shape, but I've seen a few of these, and they're always beat up because these weren't even stapled covers. I don't believe these were just, they were staples. The staples have come loose and rusted. But other than the fact that it's got some rubs because it was all black, so of course stuff's gonna rub against it and rub off on it, and it's got a couple creases. But the inside, all the pages are there. The pages are clean. There's some crinkles, but I remember having this as a kid and looking at it, because Ghostbusters is one of my favorite movies, and this was cool to stumble across. Found a few of them in the same antique store, and then stumbled across this one that was complete for like $3. So I bit, why not? Add it to my collection, right? Something I thought was neat, we found a long time ago, that's been sitting up here was this really cool scratch and sniff storybook for the Care Bear Cousins Visit the Woods, which it's a sniffy book. It was released by Random House, and this was an 80s thing. It's not it's decent shape. I mean, it's a spiral bound book, which you don't see any of today, really, which was kind of unique for the day. There are some scratch and sniff spots, like the peanut butter. Then that one doesn't smell anymore. There is like the flowers. The flowers still smell. Let's see what else we got. We got one more, and the pine tree. So, and the pine tree still smells. And I think blueberries. Blueberries. The blueberries still smell. 3 out of the 4 still work, and considering they've been scratched all the hell from the 80s, this is really neat. Just a cute little Care Bears book for Care Bear Cousins, and I had never seen a scratch and sniff book like this before. I'm not sure how many they made. I haven't done a lot of research on them to see, but this was really the only thing that I saw that I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, so pick that up, throw it in the collection. One more paper product to show you, and then we'll move on to some action figures. I ordered these from a lady in Italy on the eBays. I'd never seen them before, and since I had ordered these, she's now put, I got 10 of them, she's put a new one up with 15 that has 5 different images that I don't have, which kind of sucks because I don't want to buy another round of them just to get the other 5. But these were really cool. These were these are Italian, these came out of Italian, little Italian kids, like little kids books, kids magazines, and they're Italian advertisements for Mattel's Bravestar. And they're just some great, like this one is a 2-piece one that actually, I can get it here, goes side by side. It's of the Laser Fire Tex Hex and Bravestar, and those are cool. Got one of the Strato Coach and Handlebar and Bravestar, which is cool. One of the villains, Scuzz Bucket and Sandstorm, and that's neat. One advertising the laser fire gun. That's pretty cool. We've got one that's really neat that I love, is the one of Bravestar knocking Tex Hex out. That's fun. Another one of the laser fire Bravestar. One for the other heroes in the Bravestar line. And then one advertising Fort Carrium, which is pretty cool. Some of these are literally like newspaper paper. Some of these are magazine stock. They are really cool. Like I said, I'd never seen these before. These are something I'm going to find some frames for and put in frames and probably hang them back here behind me where all my Bravestar stuff mint in box is, which is still one of my best loved collectibles, and I love that line. Again, Bravestar is a line that just a lot of people don't give credit to. Nowadays, though, if you try to pull these figures mint in box online, they run for about $100 a pop in certain cases. Luckily, all of my mint in box stuff I bought probably 10-15 years ago, and when I bought it, which I think is pretty cool, which I don't think I've ever shown you guys on this show, these when I bought these were warehouse finds, and as you can see, they're just in gorgeous condition. They've never been punched, so they've never, I mean, somebody just literally pulled them out of a case, out of a sealed case, and sold them on eBay about 10 or 15 years ago, and I literally bought, they had the whole line, and I bought it all. I bought each of everything. It took me a while to find like Thunderstick, who was the rare villain, and I'm missing a couple pieces from my Bravestar line, mint in box. There's a 3030 Marshall Bravestar 2-pack, and there's another version of the big Fort Carrium playset that I'm missing. Missing the large scale version of it, which is loose, which you guys always see behind me on every show. I love that line. It's my favorite toy line of all time, and the fact that I'm missing just a couple pieces mint in box of it kills me every day. But now they're so expensive that I just don't want to bite the bullet and pick them up. But I did promise we'd move on to some action figures, and I always keep my promises, so let's check this out. Alright, so a while ago I started to buy some Swamp Thing playsets and found a couple of figures that I wanted. This last Kane County Toy Show in April, I happened across some a booth. A friend of mine has a booth there, usually all the time there, and Toyman Toy Show, and I stumbled across, looking through his drawers, that he had just about all of the rest of the Swamp Thing figures pretty much complete. There's a couple things that I'm missing here and there, but I did go through it, and I think I cleared him out. I bought pretty much everything that was down there, just because I didn't have any of them loose. I have a couple sealed, I have one figure loose, and like I have the Transducer playset and the big Swamp Trap playset. But I didn't have really anything else, and I always liked this Kenner line. It was always a great line because it kind of harkens back. The designs for a couple of the Swamp Thing figures were pulled from their deceased Superpowers line, because Swamp Thing was supposed to be a character that was supposed to appear in the Superpowers line before they canceled it. So he was one of like the upcoming figures that was going to happen. They just took those action figures and moved them into Swamp Thing's, a line for Swamp Thing, when they did the animated series. Some of the ones I found was I found Anton Arcane, who was the main villain. Of course, all of the villains have these removable mutated heads. And of course, Arcane is kind of creepy looking. He's got a skull cane, which is always kind of missing when you see this figure loose. So that's always difficult to find with his cane. And of course, now his cane doesn't want to stay in his hand. There we go. But yeah, all these figures, they just basically, the evil mutated parts pop back on them. They have glow-in-the-dark parts. I believe their eyes glow in the dark and their teeth. Very cool, though. It makes for a pretty menacing figure. So Anton Arcane. I found Bayou Jack, and unfortunately Bayou Jack is missing. He had a little part that slipped over his head that on his back, and then you could put the water squirting backpack into, so he would be able to hold it. And unfortunately he doesn't, because the backpack swings now. But he had his gun, he had his backpack, and even though that one little piece is missing, Bayou Jack is one I don't see a lot, or hardly at all. I see him on eBay, but I never see him in the wild, so I grabbed him just because I thought, well, how often do you actually see this figure? For, I think I paid $5 for all of these a piece, so not bad. Bayou Jack, cool figure. I found Camouflage Swamp Thing, which of course he looks like he's kind of in the trees. His feet look like roots. Comes with this cool little capture, this little noose capture device that you could slip over. Let's just take Arcane here. You could slip over a villain's head, and it would go bloop, and then you pull on the string back here, and it would choke them. Kind of not a great kid's toy, I guess, because it's like, look, here's a noose, choke your enemies. Cool figure. He doesn't do a whole lot. He just got some posability. Of course, they did sculpt him so you can see through him, like you could see like through the roots there. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, I can see you. Cool thing though. Cool figure. So Camouflage Swamp Thing. I found the very cool, very creepy Dr. Demo, who comes with a little Swamp Thing. Since they're in the Bayou, of course, he was into voodoo, so you get a little Swamp Thing voodoo doll. And he's a very cool, very creepy looking figure. And of course, his mutated head is a giant multi-tentacled snake thing. Very cool. Usually when you see this figure, this little piece here, the little Swamp Thing is gone. It's always missing. Very cool, Dr. Demo. I found the equally creepy Skin Man, who comes with his little pickaxe and just this. He's almost like a very, very creepy zombie-looking guy. And his little his mutated head was a giant winged wolf, I guess you could call it. It's kind of what it looks like. Looks like it's actually a bat, but it looks like a winged wolf in the face. That's cool. But I think I like this figure the most because he's very creepy, very very zombie-like. I found the villain Weed Killer, and unfortunately he's missing his little, I wouldn't call it a weapon. He had like a little thing of, I don't know, pesticide or something that he could hold, kind of. So that was missing, which is kind of sad. But still, though, he turns into this giant. I call it the creepy dune sandworm with arms, because it's kind of what it looks like, but he's got eyes. So he turns into that. He's pretty cool though. Weed Killer. Rah. Alright, gang, and last but not least, to wrap this episode up, I found Snap Up Swamp Thing, who came with this very cool little launcher, and then of course he was all connected with ropes. You pull on him and he kind of bleh, and then you just push the button and he all snaps back together. Neat figure. This whole line was really cool, and I suggest anyone out there who's looking for a cool toy line to grab, the Kenner Swamp Thing stuff is very fun and very worth picking up. It's a very unique little line, so I suggest you want a line, pick up Swamp Thing. There you go, guys. That wraps up this episode of Devall's Collection Expansion Extravaganza. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Of course, you can check us out on ToyWorldOrder.com. Go to youtube.com/ToyWorldOrder. Subscribe. It helps us out greatly. And, of course, check out the website and the forums. Great stuff there. You can follow me on Twitter @PuppetDevall. Make sure you do that. I'm always tweeting some really cool toy stuff and lots of great stuff coming this year from Toy World Order. So thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for checking out the collection. And until next time, gang, keep digging because you never know what you're going to find. Take care.